Thank you all for joining me. I am Heather Haro. This is Ahead of the Curve, our quarterly webinar series. We're helping independent pharmacies, or my friends, move forward. And I think that of the moving forward conversations, the conversation that we're going to have today may not be as sexy as peptides and AI, but it'll definitely give you that much bang for your buck. It'll be that, I want to say monumental, but that's not the correct word. It'll definitely help you as much as, it's not, it really is phenomenal once Chris gets into his work or his talk. Just how crazy credit card processing is. And if you're not on your P's and Q's, then it can turn it's a slippery slope. It can turn from a nominal fee or something that you don't pay attention to holy cow, there's so much of my cash flow is going right out the door. So I just want to say, Chris, I think we've chatted before, and I've told you this before. Yes, Mike, impactful. You're right. That the only rule to this webinar today is that there are no rules. That my friends, the pharmacists that are joining us today, have the ability to stop us and ask questions at any time. And anytime during the webinar, we will get their questions answered. I like to believe, and I hope that I'm doing them justice. I like to believe that I am their mouthpiece in asking the questions of our new and existing partners that come and chat with us on these webinars. Okay, well, hello, Joshua. So, we are here. Well, in part, some folks are members and some folks aren't members. If you are not a member of Pharmacy Badass University, I suggest you check us out. Scan the code here, see what we're all about. If you have more questions, truly feel free to text 661-340-9520. Text me or email me, or even, all of you know this. Even Lisa still completely answers her phone and texts her phone, and she's the fastest in the West. Lisa is the fastest phone answer, email answer, texter that's ever been around. So if you've been wanting to check us out, afraid to start, now's a great time to get it in there. Kids are going back to school, things are settling back in. So while you're settling into your old routine, it's a good time to add something, because you're in the mindset of just getting everything settled. So, talking about Pharmacy Badass University, we work in 4 steps. We're going to reverse your poor cash flow. We're going to build strong businesses and foundations. We're going to scale to make you profitable, and then we're going to diversify. Oh, well, forget about that. That was last webinars. I didn't take that off there. I know all of you are shocked that I did not get that off of there, but we're going to go back to expense ratio. And Chris definitely falls into an expense that he can help alleviate the pain in. He's not adding to your expenses. He is 100% helping you alleviate the pain from credit card processing and those hidden fees. Now, we all know this. You can be profitable and still being broke. Cash flow is 100% totally the name of this game, an independent pharmacy. I just came back from NACDS, and I continue to be shocked when I talk to larger companies, larger organizations, even some of our friends that partner with us now, how they don't truly understand that the name of the game where you guys are hurting most is cash flow. And how there's such time differences from when you get paid, when you're submitting insurance, just the whole gamut of the cash flow issue. I texted Lisa while I was in some meetings this weekend and just said, I can't wrap my head around them not fully understand the folks that they are servicing. So, it goes from raising costs, payment processing fees, which we're going to tackle today, payroll, inventory, the whole 9 yards, is where you could have leakage in your expenses. Now, some things are practical, worrying about making payroll, delaying investments, putting off equipment. Those are all practical worries. When it comes to cash flow, you have to plan for those. But some of the stuff that creeps up on you, like these poor processing fees, are the stress, the frustration, feeling stuck, and just overall hating your effing pharmacy. We want you to love pharmacy again. So you've probably tried to fix it. You've tried everything, but I would suggest to you that you probably did not understand, or and maybe you've met Chris before. Chris has been a longtime partners of us. USA has been with us, I think, 4 years at the conference. Chris, I want to say maybe 2 or 3. But it's a sneaky problem that you just may not know that you have, so you haven't tried to fix it yet. So every time a patient swipes the card, inserts the card, do you know exactly how much you're being charged, what you're being charged for, and if there are different features? I would suggest some pharmacy owners don't. Now, I will say that we have the best members and the best pharmacy owners, and I'm sure a lot of our members or my friends on the podcast today, Chris, our webinar, know these things. They just don't know how to fix them. And that's what we're going to get to. How are we going to fix it? If you thought that it was normal that your credit card fees fluctuate or continuously go up, Chris is going to absolutely unequivocally tell us that it's not, and show us where to look. And better yet, he'll do that for you. So without further ado, I would like to introduce my friend. Now, we've done these a few times. Chris Flores from USA Payments. So Chris, tell us how we're going to stop crying every time a customer swipes their card. It's such a duality feeling. You're happy that you're getting the sale, but holy cow, I don't want to pay for it as well.
First things first, Heather, I appreciate you bringing me on today, and you're 100% correct. Lisa answers her phone faster than most people. So 100% that is the case. So it's a great community to be able to work with you guys and be able to continue to provide continued education. There's a lot of misconceptions in this industry based off of just the experiences that other pharmacy owners have had, because it's one of those things where um, they're used to dealing with a specific way of doing things, and in reality, it shouldn't be the norm. And for us, a little background on myself. So I'm the CEO of USA Payments. I've been in the payment processing industry for over a decade. We have been working with clients in all areas of healthcare. My very first step into the healthcare space was in the telemedicine industry. So we currently serve over 350 of the largest telehealth brands and growing every single day. In addition to that, from the relationships that we had in the telehealth space and all of the owners in that space introducing us to other pharmacy owners, compound pharmacy owners. From there, it ended up expanding into the clinic space. So we have hundreds of clinics and alternative wellness practices, private practices, everything else. So healthcare has been a huge sector for us in the last decade. With that being said, the experience that we have, it's hard for us to just ignore all the different things, whether it's, hey, do you have help? Or can you help us with legal? Can you help us with compliance? Can you help us with connecting to a better marketing team? All the above has led us to where we are today, because we are more than just a payments company. We are advisors and consultants. We provide more value. I guarantee you that our team knows more about peptides than probably some of the people that are, promoting their peptides essentially. So it's one of those things where we're just here to support the community as best as we possibly can. Um, So yes, 100% the fees can add up.
Right.
It is one of those situations where the legacy providers that many of us know in the industry, we get situations where people will come to us and say, am I in the right structure? Am I paying, where I should be? I'll tell you a story. We had a client come to us say, here, take a look at our statements. My director of sales took a look, analyzed everything. They were doing a significant amount of volume every single month. Come to find out, over the course of 6 months, it had gravitated from where it already shouldn't have been at 4.5% to roughly about almost 7% of their total volume was getting assessed in fees. There's some reason for that. In the payments industry, there's a lot of consolidation. There's a lot
Mhm.
of companies being acquired. And typically, when you're getting acquired, the equity firms or the groups that are purchasing these investments, they're trying to find ways to recoup their return on investment as quickly as possible. And one of the ways is to immediately increase fees. So as soon as we identified that, we were able to come in and let the ownership know, hey, you're sitting here, you really should be, at this level, sub 3% level. And we got them back to a normal range based off of how they needed to be structured. So
Now, now, Chris, when situations like this happen, I know that we all get emails, we have new terms and conditions. Please check yes or no. We've been bought by so and so. We're proud to announce, those kinds of things. Is that typically where they hide those things in and then we just check yes and go on with our lives?
in all honesty, I typically don't like to say things of, negative things. But the
Sure, sure.
reality is my industry, the payment processing industry, has gotten a bad reputation for uh, what I would call electively increasing fees without true acknowledgement. And the
Mm,
reality is those fees or that notice is typically stated in a very small spot on the credit card processing statement that gets
mhm.
typically emailed to you if you're lucky. There are some providers that they pretty much say, hey, you can log into your portal and check out your statement. That's where all your notifications are. Um, for us in particular, it's not something that we want to do. We don't need you to be digging through your terms and conditions to see if, you're going to be getting your next rate increase. For us, once you're set with the rate, that's where you're going to be. So we believe in a lifelock type guarantee because we want to make sure that we're earning everyone's business on a daily and monthly basis, not an annual basis, not a every 3 year basis. So for the way that we conduct ourselves, we're always looking to improve and create a stronger relationship.
That's fantastic. Um, So if you're doing these month over month, are you we don't with you guys, we don't need to be checking our statements. You're saying that Heather, I sign you at 3% and or whatever that is. I don't hold me to it. I'm not the professional here, but let's just say, Heather, we're signing you at 3%. It's going to be 3% forever.
Um, in
Unless,
short, the answer would be yes. The rate that we sign you up for and approve you for would be the rate that you're going to be assessed. Now, truth be told, if certain things change, and one of the things I want to bring up would be online payments. But if your structure changes, it may affect your rates a little bit, but the reality, I would highly recommend having somebody on a business's finance team, whether it's the CFO of a company or even if it's a smaller organization, the owner of the company or somebody on their team to uh, be aware of the rates and fees because it just because we don't increase certain things there are added factors such as Visa, MasterCard on the backside, where
mm,
the misconception is when signing up with us as a company, they believe that all that 3% goes to us. In fact, or when in fact, we only get a very small percentage, a couple of pennies on every transaction because we're
Mhm.
the facilitator. The bulk of the transaction fee goes to Visa, MasterCard, American Express. And unfortunately, they do rate increases, um, you know, a couple times a year, dependent
Mhm.
on their own bottom line. For us, we want to make it so that the structure is as lean as possible, which means, are you set up correctly for in-person store or pharmacy brick and mortar transactions?
Okay.
And then are you set up for the best fee structure for if you need to do what we call card not present transactions? Uh, Basically, telephone order, delivery type transactions, online portal type transactions, because the reason why the cost can increase for those specific type of transactions is because of the risk factor. And that's something else that I wanted to mention in the presentation today. um, there are situations where um, people are terminated from their accounts because of how they're transacting within the industry. At the conference this year, I took a poll by hand of how many people were afraid of potentially receiving a cancellation notice
Mhm.
from their current provider. And it happens all the time because as the industry continues to evolve, um, the legacy providers are not evolving with them. So for
Right.
us, we've been providing online and card not present transactions for many years. And when we ran the survey of people's hands, there were a ton of people that were worried about, being at risk. So for us in particular, when we analyze a business, we always start off by asking, Heather, what would you say the percentage of transactions in person are? What do you anticipate the number of transactions being in an online or invoiced type setting? And from there, we make sure that the structure is correct to make sure that you're paying the most effective and lean rate as possible. And there are a couple of different programs that whether it's you technically absorbing fees, or there are programs nowadays where it does help eliminate your credit card processing fees by assessing a service fee to your clients, dependent on whether it's a cash pay or not. Obviously, there's certain regulatory aspects where you can't assess a service fee on, let's say, copays, but the
Mhm.
reality is there are ways to really lean your finances on that side.
Now, one thing that I like that you've preached to me for is that every pharmacy is different. That really you guys that one story where the pharmacy owner brought in their statement to your sales manager is not a one-off. You do that for everybody, so you know where they're at, and how to make them better. Is that really the first place to start with you?
It is because there have been numerous cases where if a client is in a really good position, we're going to be honest with them and tell them, hey, we can save you X amount, but it's only if it's worth it for you. If it is worth it for you, we'd love to be able to serve you and continue to earn your business. But there are those moments where they are in a good position and there's no reason to sway them any other way. But the other aspect of it is we do get clients that come to us because of specific things like technology, and we provide advisement as best as we possibly can because we are in tuned with so many different factors within the industry, and they do take that to heart because we're building a relationship versus considering them as another number.
Sure.
So,
Sure.
for instance, we are a smaller firm. We have roughly about 5,600 clients compared to the legacy providers that have hundreds of thousands of clients. And, you can get us on the phone, you can get me on the phone, but can you get anybody at that company on the phone? It's not
Sure.
happening, at least not within an hour. So
Sure.
the reality, we have our clients' best interest at heart. Now we have questions that come in all the time. Can you integrate, with our software? For instance, we do have integrations into Pioneer, into Liberty, into the major softwares out there, and that's what separates us compared to the next guy within my own industry.
Mhm.
But I would hope that it goes beyond just the rates and fees, and obviously the integration is a really important thing, but the knowledge and the expertise that you have to leverage, whether it's my own team, myself, or our network and our connections that we can help grow and scale our clients' businesses.
Sure.
That's what we try to offer to everybody on a daily basis.
I have a question. I thought service fees were reserved for government and utility providers. I didn't think we could use that.
So there are some, I, I will make a very brief comment on the utility company and government. They have such a weird loophole that for some reason they exclude themselves out of the state by state regulatory aspects. I get upset all the time when I'm paying utility bills or DMV fees, and it's like, oh, well, how come you guys don't have to follow certain things?
Right.
Reality is they're a special case. For us, though, we are very careful when advising our clients on compliance. So there are two ways to go about um, assessing a fee and being and remaining compliant. There are, as of within the last couple of months of me doing this research, 47 states that allow for surcharging. And within those states, you are able to assess a service fee. Now, the way that it has to be structured is you can only go up to 3% of a service charge or a surcharge on credit card transactions only. Now, that requires you to provide a zero fee option on debit cards. So that is the compliant way of doing it per Visa and MasterCard's regulations. It requires a registration, it requires signage, and all the above. The alternative that you have is the ability to assess what's called a cash discount, or another fancy term, a dual pricing model, where you have multiple fees, multiple prices, where you have your regular fee, which is assessed as your credit card fee, and then you have a discounted price if you pay with cash or a cash alternative. Um, we go through all of that with our clients. We answer all the questions to help them remain compliant, understand the appropriate structure for them and what makes more sense. It is a situation where if you don't do it correctly, you as the business can be fined by Visa and MasterCard. And it is something that we are so careful with that I don't want to say nobody ever gets fined, but the reality is we're so careful with how things are structured and whether or not it makes sense for the business. Because if the business can't maintain its own compliance, it's definitely not something that we
Sure.
recommend doing.
Right, right, right. Jason, well, it goes by state as well, right? Jason is from Oklahoma. He says it's only 2%. 3% is the federal rate based on the Visa lawsuit years ago, which is at the top end, but Oklahoma only allows for 2%. And you can't say service fee, it has to say service charge.
Correct.
Um,
There are
it's
intricacies for
very new.
every state.
Yeah. There's such nuances for everything, which pharmacy owners get that about states. How many pharmacies charge a fee now that you're currently working with?
At this point in the pharmacy market, I would say roughly about 30 to 35% of our pharmacies have elected to go in some sort of uh, passing along the fee type methodology. A good amount are still absorbing their fees. They understand it's a cost of doing business. In full transparency, I have multiple companies that I own, multiple businesses. I still am more of that traditional sense of absorbing credit card processing fees because I know that it can be deducted, but not everybody feels the same way. And it's okay. Everybody has their own feelings about it, and we will advise them on how to best stay in compliance.
Sure, sure. And it's again, compliance per state, per not nationally. If you're integrating with Liberty, what gateway are you using to facilitate that integration?
So we have a gateway partner that works directly with Liberty, in addition to Pioneer and others. They have been a partner of ours for a long time now, and we're able to provide a point of sale and software integration that allows for that connectivity. So it is something that we have transitioned other pharmacy owners to. They are a very notable company in the space, but
Sure,
for the sake of their privacy too, I'm more than happy to have that conversation when we're uh, on a call.
sure.
Uh, but the reality is, it is something that our clients who have transitioned with them, they're very happy because their primary goal has always been to save on the fees that they thought that they were locked down to.
Okay. Two more questions. Do you integrate with Computer RX?
So CRX has been uh, one that I've had communications with their team, and sometimes it could be a little bit hard to work with certain companies. They are one that we are working on a integration with, so I'm continue to be in conversation with them. So for right
Work,
now, yeah, we're working on it.
working on it, working on it. And then, so would you have to have a separate POS system?
It depends on the situation. With the integration for the softwares, we can make it so that it's an all-in-one. Sometimes people are doing, dependent on how the business is structured, if they're doing a majority of transact or not a majority, a good amount of transactions in a card not present environment, they may do invoicing or automation or patient portal type setup. So it's not always a separation. In fact, we want everything to be an all-in-one, which is what it is a majority of the time. But full transparency, some of our clients have specific needs that require them to have some separation.
So it's very much the same. Uh, every pharmacy is absolutely different, and you need to partner with someone who not only understands those nuances but cares enough to walk it through so it fits for your pharmacy as opposed to your pharmacy um, uh, fitting or molding to those. So you're using that group that screenscapes the POS and processes it outside of Liberty, not a real integration.
So it is a real integration,
Sorry.
and if it wasn't a real integration, it wouldn't be able to communicate with the actual hardware that is provided.
Sure.
Um, but here's the thing. It's We're very transparent with the fact that it's not a it is a plug and play, but it's not a native integration that Liberty's aware, just so you're aware. Liberty's aware, Pioneer's aware. It is a partner, but it is one of those ways that allows the client to be able to save a lot of money, which is the reason why it even exists.
Mm,
It is not necessarily just an overlay. There are companies that just overlay. This is an actual integration. It does require physical hardware to be changed out so that everything is transacting in a fluid way. So no, it's not just you have to do a weird workaround. It actually is fully integrated. It's just not like you can go onto the Liberty
mm.
existing hardware and make the changes there. You actually have to get new hardware.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, Jason, you're smart. You're smart about this stuff. And it looks like Jason said that he had an audit, or not an audit. He had a law that went into effect in November. And so I'm sure they had 30 days to become compliant. And I'm sure that really that'll put you in learning gear for sure.
Yep.
Oh, they had a secret Visa shopper that hit us. Man,
They, here's the thing. Unfortunately, that's exactly the reason why we are super careful when it comes to how things are done. And if a client truthfully can maintain that compliance, it is really important that it is done properly, because we do hear people all the time say that I have a friend of mine, I know somebody that's been fined. The fines start at $1,000. They typically can go up to $5,000 dependent on the number of offenses, because they do typically give you 30 days to remediate and make sure that you're compliant. But I'd rather get ahead of it and do it right from the get-go.
Yep.
But there are some businesses out there, I definitely not just pharmacy owners, but other businesses that would rather disguise the fact that there are added fees. Like, I don't know how many of us here have gone into a restaurant and somebody on the menu would say, we're adding a 3.99% service fee or a 3% service fee to pay for our employee benefits.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of laugh at that, because it's not the right way to be offsetting those fees, essentially. The right way to be doing it in most settings would either be to have a cash, or sorry, a traditional price or a regular price that's also your credit price,
Mm-hmm.
and have uh, a, a fee for cash, essentially. If you're going to go in the surcharge model, you got to make sure that you're even more careful that you can't assess a service fee on debit cards. Like, there's certain maximums, as Jason mentioned. So we want to make sure that everyone's always put in the right direction. In addition to that, making sure that your account's set up in the right way. Because as I mentioned, there's a lot of pharmacies that have transitioned to a more online type model.
Sure.
If there was something that I would leave anybody with today, is the fact that as your pharmacy evolves, your technology and your solutions have to continue to evolve as well. And I would be interested in this environment here to know how many owners or pharmacies are accepting payments in a what we call a card not present environment, because in our portfolio and our experience over the last 10 years, you're starting to see it go from a very heavy percentage of in-person transactions, the way that many have been used to now more of the delivery online over the phone type model for convenience. Because nowadays we're living in a world of convenience. We're living in the world of Amazon delivering things to your doorstep the next day. It's the same for medication. So
Yep.
everybody expects that same level of service, which means that the pharmacy owners are looking to accommodate for that. And where they're running into the pitfalls is the legacy providers, they're not comfortable with that. We are. That's the reason why people flock to us, is for the stability. Um,
Sure.
so that's the biggest takeaway, is definitely make sure that your account is set up for your future success, not just for where you are today.
Sure, sure. Well, my friend Penny knows that we're getting to the end. We want folks to get in, get the information, and get out. So Penny gets right to the heart of it. Who do we contact to get eyes on our credit card bill? How do we get a hold of you, Chris? What's the best way for you to consult with some of my friends?
So I will do something very special here, which most people do not have. I will put my direct email in here. And if anybody wants to connect with my team, I will introduce you to my team members so that they can schedule a call for a consult to see if it makes sense for them and to see where they stand. That's honestly the very first step, is see where you stand. Because I guarantee you, my team will be able to tell you, hey, you have a really good competitive rate. Um, the most we can probably save you would be $100 a month. Is it worth it to you? I'll tell you, it depends on the type of business, because it wasn't a pharmacy. I had a specialty shoe store where they specialize in really high-end shoes. We were going to be able to save them roughly about $1,200 a month. That wasn't even worth it to them,
Oh,
because everything's about the workflow and what the time cost would be to them. They
Sure.
basically came back and said, "Hey, if you can save us $2,000 a month, we can justify it. But if you can't, that's where we stand." I told them there really wasn't that much left to save. That we literally were coming in with a very aggressive amount of savings, and there's actually a threshold of what we can really do because
Right. Right.
we can only control so much.
Right.
So every business out there, they're unique and they're different, and we want to make sure that you understand we're not looking at everything as a one size fits all. We're looking at things on a very case by case basis.
Yep. Well, thank you so much, Chris. Gosh, thank you to my wonderful pharmacy owners today. We had a great, lively conversation. Jason, I'm going to send you a treat. Thank you for speaking up and chatting with us, and my friend Penny. And now Leland says that they are working with oh gosh, with Nimble and are having success, which is fantastic. This is what we're here to do, is chat about it. Um, Thank you everybody for coming on today. Chris put his email address in the chat. It's chris@usapayments.com. Reach out to him. He will get you to the best, person on his team to get you going. Now, one more time, if you have not signed up for Pharmacy at Badass University, give us a try. We If we don't want your money, if we're not helping you, we don't want to add more to your plate. We truly want you to love your pharmacy, and make it a place that's reaching your goals instead of draining your soul. So reach out to Lisa or I. Try that $200 membership. I'm telling you, just one strategy a month, you can put that in place. I know you can. So give us a try. Oh, well, that's it. I guess I'm not going to tell you guys about Pharmacy Profit Summit. Pharmacy Profit Summit, friends, tickets are the lowest they will ever be. Go buy them now. It's going to be a great time, great content, as always. I can't say enough about Lisa and the content. We have some really exciting new exhibitor partners this year. I'm not ready to announce them yet. I will. But let's just say I had a very successful time with some really, really, really great partners in ACDS last week. So, uh, thank you so much. I was in Dallas a couple months ago when Atiba came in. Oh, great, Jason! I hope you put it together. Chris is at chris@usapayments.com. chris@usapayments.com.
Heather, are you able to share that? I put it in, but I'm not sure why it may not be
Oh, to
showing up for
host.
everybody.
Yeah, I will. You're right. I see that. Jason, I hope you got the very most out of the AI workshop with Atiba. I hope you were able to build a bot and get things going. Let us know how it was. All right, everybody, it's 11:40. We went a little over, but Chris was such a great guest. We were happy to do it. Thank you, Chris. I love chatting with you. Everybody have a great rest of your week. Go kill it. I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Heather.